Welcome back to Horror History, the podcast where we journey through the darkest, most fascinating corners of human history. I'm your host, Vigilante. For this one, we're diving into a true mystery, a story that has captivated and haunted people for decades. The Sodder children's disappearance is a case that has been shrouded in mystery since that fateful night on Christmas Eve in 1945. It's a tale of family tragedy, unanswered questions, and a chilling set of clues that have never been fully explained. Today's story will take us to a small town in West Virginia, where, on a quiet Christmas night, a fire destroyed the Sodder family home, but 5 children went missing, and they were never found. What happened that night? Was it a tragic accident, or something far darker? And most haunting of all, why have the answers remained elusive for so long? So take a seat by the fireplace and get ready for a chilling tale of mystery and heartbreak. This is Horror History Episode 13, The Sodder Children Disappearance, A Christmas Nightmare. The year was 1945. The world was still recovering from the ravages of World War II. But for the Sodder family in Fayetteville, West Virginia, Christmas was meant to be a time of peace and celebration. George and Jenny Sodder lived with their 10 children on a small farm. That night, their home was filled with the sound of laughter and holiday cheer as they enjoyed a Christmas Eve dinner. But by 10:30 p.m., their lives would be shattered. A fire broke out in their home. In the moments that followed, the family's world would be changed forever. According to George and Jeannie, the fire spread rapidly, devouring the house in a matter of minutes. The 2 managed to escape with their 4 youngest children, but their 5 older children were still inside the burning house. George immediately rushed back into the house to save them, but the smoke and flames were too thick. With no way to reach them, George was forced to watch as the house burnt down to the ground. When the fire was finally extinguished, the fire department conducted a search. But no remains were found. No bones, no traces of the children, nothing. The authorities declared the fire an accident, caused by faulty wiring, but George and Ginny couldn't accept that explanation. How could their children have disappeared without a trace? Where were the bodies? Why was there no evidence that they still had perished in the flames? What's even more puzzling is that there were no signs of forced entry into the home. All the windows and doors appeared to be locked from the inside, making it seem as if the children had either been taken before the fire or escaped somehow. But where did they go? The fire itself became a mystery that wouldn't go away. In the days and weeks following the fire, George and Jenny began to investigate on their own, uncovering clues that led them to believe the fire may not have been an accident at all. The first unsettling detail was that the phone lines to the house had been cut before the fire started. The family had tried to call for help, but the phone was dead. This suggests that someone had intentionally disabled their ability to alert authorities before this fire spread. As George and Ginny spoke with neighbors, they learned of a strange man who had been seen around their property in the days before the fire. The man was said to have been lurking near the house, watching the children play, but when questioned by the neighbors, he vanished. In addition to these suspicions, the family received an eerie letter in 1947, 2 years after the fire. The letter came from someone who claimed to have seen the missing children alive, and it included a photograph of 5 children that closely resembled the Sodder children. The person who sent the letter remained anonymous, but the photo stirred something deep within George and Ginny. Could their children still be alive? Could they have been kidnapped and hidden away? The mysterious letter was not the only strange development in this case. A local bus driver claimed to have seen the children in a car near the family's house the night of the fire. He described the children as being in a car driven by an unknown man, and the car had driven away at a high speed. The bus driver also mentioned that the children appeared to be alive and unharmed. But this theory was complicated by another disturbing detail. The family's house had been searched thoroughly by authorities, and no evidence of the children's remains were found. No blood, no clothing, no traces of them whatsoever, yet there was a possibility that they had somehow escaped or been abducted before the fire fully engulfed the home. The more George and Ginny delved into the mystery, the more they were convinced that the fire was no accident. The theories surrounding the disappearance of the Sodder children have multiplied over the years, but none have provided any concrete answers. Some investigators believe the children were abducted by someone who knew the family well. The precision of the fire, which seemed to be set with the intent of destroying the home, but not harming the children inside, led some to believe that it was orchestrated by someone with intimate knowledge of the family's routine. Another theory suggests that the fire was a cover-up for a larger, more sinister plot. Some people believe that the children may have been taken by a child trafficking ring, while others suspect that it could have been more retaliation for George's outspoken views on local corruption and organized crime. George had made enemies over the years, and some even suggested that mobsters may have had a hand in the fire. This theory is bolstered by the fact that George's business dealings had at times brought him into contact with people involved in criminal activities. Another possibility is that the fire was part of a botched insurance scheme. In the wake of the fire, the Sodder family received a payout, but some have speculated that George may have been targeted by someone seeking to collect a large sum of money. Could the fire have been set by someone with financial motives? Despite the many theories, the mystery remains unsolved. Over the years, George and Ginny never gave up hope that they would find their children, even though the authorities insisted that the case was closed. The case of the Sodder children is a tragic reminder of the dangers of seeking answers in a world full of unanswered questions. The truth remains as elusive as ever, leaving us with only the chilling possibility that something more sinister may have been behind that Christmas night fire. The disappearance of the Sodder children continues to haunt those who are familiar with the case. With so many questions left unanswered, their story is a tragic reminder of how one moment can change everything, and how sometimes the truth is just out of reach. So take a seat, but keep a watchful eye on the shadows. You never know when the past might come back to find you. Until then, stay curious, stay cautious, and as always, stay safe. Peace.